Americans of Reddit, what is your opinion on switching to the metric system? A 12 centimeters long penis sounds much more impressive. I'm in. If that means rounding up a 32 ounces beer to 1 liter, then yes please. As long as we can add fuckton as a unit. The US tried to convert back in the 70s, but everyone bitched about it. I'm all in for switching. It would be really nice to go to literally any other country and understand size and speed. Edit, thanks for my first silver stranger. And yes, I personally can do the conversions and understand it's not that difficult, but lots of Americans can't be bothered. Metric system is miles ahead. My persuasive speech in high school speech class was about why we should convert. This was 20 years ago. I got a good grade, but people love multiplying and dividing by 25. For apparently. Edit, I program C for medical device components. Well over half the drawings I see are metric. Machines are programmed in imperial. Many conversions back and forth between inches and millimeters. It's so freaking annoying. Americans will never accept a foreign ruler. Edit, thank you all for the upvotes and accolades. I'm fine with it, but a larger priority is getting rid of that damned daylight savings time. The metric system is the official measurement system of the US. It has been since the early 1980s. However, it wasn't actually put into practice because we've already been using the imperial system for so long that changing everything over would cause trouble to the infrastructure. Like someone else already said, it's the equivalent of forcing a new language onto society because it's now the official language of this country. I would fucking love to do that. It is a lot easier to work with. As far as the country as a whole switching, I would be fine with the UK method of using both imperial and metric to save on having to entirely revamping everything. The metric system is the tool of the devil. My car gets 40 rods to the hogshead and that's the way I likes it. What difference does it make when big tape measure is lobbying with tens of dollars to keep inches so they don't have to paint more lines? Not moving an inch. Bald eagle screech. Hey American men, your dick sounds bigger in centimeters. Conversion happens tomorrow. I think the world needs to move to base 12. Problem solved. Reports say a man in CA was mugged, and they beat him within millimeters of his life. I think it's one of those things where on paper it makes sense to use metric, but it'll never happen because of the trouble to switch, not only infrastructure-wise but people understanding-wise. It would like changing our language because there is another one that is easier once you learn it. For science, yes, yes, 1,000 fucking times yes. I'm sick of converting imperial to metric in thermo. Pisses me off. However, the imperial system is so ingrained into everyday life that honestly, I'm more comfortable with it like this. Oh Jesus, this again. I'm a tradesman and machinist regularly working in US standard units and occasionally metric. Each has their strengths and weaknesses depending on what you're trying to do. Most computation is done on a calculator today, so you're just hitting buttons and reading the answer anyway. If you can't figure out how to do whatever task you're doing in both, you probably shouldn't be doing it. The exception to this is estimation, because being accurate at that depends on your familiarity with the system. The people who need to use it, the academic community, already do. But the imperial system is so deeply ingrained in American culture I can't ever see it going away. If there was a real, concerted effort by the government and several private enterprises, the NFL, car manufacturers, construction companies and suppliers, then maybe. But it would cost billions of dollars and there is little financial incentive to do so. Even if there were gains to be made in the long run, corporations only seem to look a quarter or two ahead in the long run. In general I wouldn't care, but you'd have to pry my Fahrenheit from my cold, dead hands. C degrees are too big. I would if decimeters were more commonly used because the gap between meters and centimeters is too much. I don't really care either way. I find it weird that people obsess over it unless it actually affects your day-to-day life. I see why it's annoying if you're dealing with scientific calculations. What would be the point? What we've got works fine. As a carpenter, no thanks. Do it. I am a member of the Atlanta, Georgia City Council, and I just had a lady try to schedule a meeting with us about officially changing to the metric system for all city functions. She tried and tried to confer with us, but ultimately we wouldn't meet her. Metric system and the fucking international fixed calendar, would you kindly? 28 days per month, 13 months per year, with one free day just hanging off the calendar as a party day? Yes please, no more guessing the day shit. As a Canadian tradesman, I'm against the US converting to metric. I work in metric and imperial and 100% prefer talking/thinking in inches instead of centimeters. I find it way easier to approximate measurements and visualize things in fractions. So much easier to say an inch to the left than about 25 millimeters to the left. Working on engines, service literature for equipment that's been around for decades, usually in a dirty old paper shop manual, is all in inches. It's super confusing doing a valve lash adjustment when you're used to grabbing a 0.02 or feeler gauge, and a stupid European engine calls for a 0.50 millimeters. Go to the lumberyard and get me some 8 feet 2x4s versus get me some 2440 38x89s. They only teach metric in public schools here. It's all fine and dandy because it's easier to learn, but it's honestly a shit measurement system for hands-on type work. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.